the number one toxic belief that really poisons our existence alive, right here, that's poisoning you in this moment, is the assumption that you are not good enough as you are, that you are not complete, that you need either someone or something to complete you. In relationships, it's the classic soulmate, right? You know what? I just wish I could have a partner and finally be complete. I saw those little necklaces where it's half a heart and I have half of it and I'm looking for my other heart. Who's my other heart? Will someone complete me? Will you complete me? Will you complete me? Will you be my other heart? Please, please complete me. And people go through life this way. And the heart could be a person, but also a thing. It could be, you know what? Approval. I just want everyone to approve of me. I want to be famous. I think if I'm famous, the approval of all of you, the entire world, will shape the other half of that heart. Or some other person might be, you know what? It's money. I want the money heart. Give me your money. Give me your money. Give me your money heart. I want the money heart. And we live life this way. It goes really subtle too, where you might even see parents or grandparents. You know what? You know what's going to complete me? My children. I want my kids. Kids, give me half the heart. Or a grandparent. You know what? My kids, it didn't work. But maybe my grandkids. That'll work. Grandkids, come to grandpa. Give me that heart. No. This whole assumption is really the root cause of all your problems. And the less, you could say, whole you feel within, the lower your level of self-esteem, and the more this needy energy is going to propel into your life. This whole you complete me that you also see in movies is the most toxic thing ever. Because even if, let's just say on a relationship level, you get that partner that you feel, just finally completes me. One, it will only be temporarily. You'll get a temporary relief of being with that partner, and what will happen immediately after? You're going to fear losing that partner. Meaning, it doesn't satisfy the neediness. Neediness on the front end is please, 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 love me, please. Say you get the person, which it's most likely not going to happen because that's so repelling. So say despite the self-sabotage, you get into a relationship, neediness continues, but on the back end it changes to, instead of please be with me, please be with me, please don't leave me, please don't leave me, it changes to fear of loss. But it's still there. Same with money. I just need money. I just need money. You get the money. Can't lose the money. Can't lose the money. You get the approval. They like me. I can't mess it up now. I don't want to go back to before. Don't not like me. Keep liking me. It continues. It's very toxic. Now, in a relationship, what does it do? It leads to attachment, which is what you're experiencing. Attachment, fear of loss, not love. And that's most people alive. They're very attached, but they don't experience love. And it leads to manipulation. More often than not, unconsciously. And it can happen on both sides. If both people have that assumption, I'm looking for my partner. Me too. We complete each other. We better not leave each other or else. So what are you going to do? You're going to do little power plays beneath the surface to keep your partner trapped there. Because if they leave you, you're back to being this little half, a half of a heart. I don't want that. And it's the foundation of a toxic relationship. Not just romantically, it's the foundation of a toxic friendship. It's the foundation of a toxic relationship with success, foundation of a toxic relationship with money, with fame, with approval, you name it. This whole, I am not good enough. And everyone chases this. Even in high school, am I the popular kid? If I'm the popular kid in high school, I'll be good enough. If everyone looks up to me, I'll be good enough. Please. No. So what you must do here is sink into, why do you believe that you are not complete? Now, this does not mean don't get into a relationship, don't have friends, so on and so forth. No, it's not the thing, it's the place it's coming from. You can enter a relationship from a place of being incomplete or a place of being complete, which technically is what activates, you could say, love, the power of love. It's not two halves coming together. When you see that in movies, you should be like, what? What? That's how you should react to it. Disgusting. What is a healthy relationship? I am complete. You are complete. And together, We don't complete each other. We're already complete. We're not two halves, we're two wholes. And then there's a certain synergy that happens between us called love. That's a healthy relationship. The same with approval. I'm complete without approval. I'm complete with approval. Same thing. Like, say all of you, just for the fun of it, you know what? For 5 seconds, just boo me right now. Just give me a boo. Okay. Now, flip side, give me a 5-second cheer. Okay. Now, am I still me after that? Yeah. Was I still me when you were booing me? Yeah, it didn't diminish me. I'm still me. Was I still me when you were cheering me on? Yeah, it doesn't enhance me either. That's the other thing. Disapproval, not getting into the relationship doesn't diminish you, but also getting it does not enhance you. You're still you. It's no different than me saying, you know what? I'm incomplete, everyone. But when I hold this phone, I'm a better person. That's what we do. The phone's approval. The phone's a partner. The phone is success. The phone is friends. The phone is money. No, it's still the same you before and after. And the other thing is in life, things come and go. We live in a world of duality where nothing is permanent, and there's a certain pendulum swing that happens. You can read a book called The Kabbalion, which talks about this in great detail. If you attach yourself to something out there, you become a slave to that thing or that person, and you are ultimately giving your power away and setting yourself up for failure, meaning that nothing stays the same. So say even right now, you achieve everything you ever wanted. You're like, yes, all my ducks are in a row. Well, tomorrow they're not going to be in a row. Things change. That's life. Nothing's permanent. So if they're in a row one day, the next day they won't. And then you're just pulled in these different directions. The way to truly feel complete is to withdraw from the physical. It doesn't mean don't partake in it, but it's withdraw, trying to find yourself in it. Another key frame is, or perspective is, trying to complete yourself with the physical is like trying to count till infinity. Can you do it? Can you count till infinity? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, you could forever count till you die. You'll never reach infinity. The same here. Approval, approval, complete me, complete me, complete me. Nothing out there will complete you. This is something you must do within, and it's not you trying to improve yourself, it's you letting go of that conditioned belief that you are incomplete right now. And this is where a lot of inner work comes into place. But when you do, things change completely. Now, some exercises you can try at home is one, sink into your deepest fears when it comes to this. Ask yourself, what if, like say you're trying to complete yourself with a partner, a relationship. Well, what if you were to never be in a relationship? What if the universe, God, we're here in Sweden, it's like Thor comes down to you and says, you will never be in a relationship ever. Say that was a guaranteed fact. Could you be okay with that? Now, you might notice, maybe logically you're like, well, I guess so. Try to rationalize it. Screw the logical answer. I want the body answer, the emotional answer. Is there a part of you inside just tensing up, just screaming, no? Well, that's what you want to let go of. That's that needy, clinging energy. That's what comes from, I'm not good enough otherwise. I'm not good enough for myself. I need someone else. Now, letting go of that, does that then mean, okay, we'll stay alone forever? No. But now you can then enter a relationship from a healthy foundation. The same with success. What if you were to never be successful? Could you be okay with that? Are you still good enough for you? Well, no, I need the money or else. Let go. Sink into your deepest fears, get triggered, and then let go. That's one perspective, one exercise. The other one is sit down with yourself for 10 minutes without any distraction and see what comes up. Can you actually just relax with you? Can you be with you? This will bring up a lot of data in terms of the relationship you have with yourself, which is the one that's going to dictate any other relationship. Can you feel at home within yourself? Or do you need to escape? I need some music. I need some YouTube. I need some movies, some Netflix. Oh no, can't relax. Ooh, it's kind of bubbling up. I need some food to numb it, some drinks, some cigarettes, so some friends talk to me so I can focus on you and not what's going on inside. Or can you actually just be with you? It's baffling that most people can't. Most people design their lives to forever avoid being with themselves. Literally. You wake up, it's like immediately you're on your phone, you're driving, you have to put some music or the radio or a podcast on, you're at work, you're like, okay, just don't be with me. You come home. Like, when's the last time you just sat and did nothing? No substances, not even food. That's numbing too. I'm gonna change how I feel with food. Just sat there, 10 minutes. Can you do it? Most people can't, which is baffling, right? It's like, hey, be with yourself for 10 minutes. Oh no, please don't make me do that. What? Do you hate yourself that much? Can you not stand yourself that much? You can't just be? Imagine if any other animal was like us. Like your dog's like, TV, no, can't be. It's like, what? We're the only ones. So this is a good audit. It will trigger that resistance. You'll have to then, of course, process it and let go of it and learn how to do so, but it'll bring a lot into your awareness. I challenge all of you, after this event, go home and just sit down for 10 minutes. See if you can do it. And see how good it feels. Some of you might be able to do it, but you're powering through it. You're like, okay, sure, you did the 10 minutes, but you're just then resisting. You're like, stay down there, you negative thoughts, stay down there, stay down there. Can you relax and do it and actually enjoy it? You should be able to enjoy being you, because in the end, that's all that you're left with. The relationship with yourself, the relationship with the present moment even. And then you can audit in your life, even job-wise, goal-wise, all this escapism and neediness and painting this better future of one day, someday. Once I pass the finish line, I'll be complete. And that's ultimately the mechanism of neediness. It's the good old Pac-Man analogy where a needy person does this. You take a part of yourself and you place it behind a wall. And then you chase it. I'm missing this piece within. Neediness is self-generated lack. As I mentioned earlier, you weren't born needy. But something happened. And you took a part of you and you put it behind a wall. This wall could be a person, a relationship, a goal, money, success, you name it. It could be anything. And then we then chase it. Once I pass this, then I can get the part of me back. Toxic. Instead, it's, I am whole, and I can have certain goals that I'm going after. But I'm whole before, and I'm whole after. Even though the circle looks smaller. It's the same circle. Okay? That's really the perspective. And you must also reflect on your past and realize that the strategy of, again, trying to satisfy this void doesn't work. If it would have, you would have figured it out by now, right? There are many things you already accomplished you thought would change everything, but it didn't. Right? You're like, if only I got this, and then you got it. And then you're chasing the new thing. And this is something that the ego is very good at. It always convinces you that what's missing is just out of reach. Just out of reach. So it could be, you know what? I just need a little bit more and a little bit more. It's the same as for those of you who are familiar with, say, playing video games. If you play with your friends online, there's always one more game. It's like, just one more. We just need one and one more and one. And it's endless. That's neediness. You need a little bit more. Oh, it didn't work? It's because you need a little bit more approval. Oh, it didn't work? It's because you need one more person to like you. Oh, it didn't work? It's because you need one more, was it kroner? Is that it? Yeah. One more kroner. That's all that's missing, one little kroner. Oh, you got another one. What you also realize is that nothing ultimately satisfies neediness except for more. That's the only thing that will ever satisfy it, more. It's the same as, say, you're really craving, I don't know, like a bite of chocolate. You're like, I just really need chocolate. You think that having one bite of chocolate is going to satisfy your craving? Have that bite of chocolate, you're like, well, I need more now. It actually amplifies it. Right? So instead of trying to satisfy with the external, you got to let go of the charge behind it. Okay? And on a more logical level, looking at this whole needy vibe or energy, you could logically say that to satisfy neediness, you got to give yourself what you need. Now, that doesn't mean anything external, but it means that whatever you're looking for out here, you're actually secretly craving it in here. If you're chasing approval externally, it's because you're craving it internally. You actually don't care about other people liking you. The only reason you want other people to like you or love you is to give yourself permission to love you. That's something I used to chase when I was younger. It's like, if everyone loves me, then maybe it means that I could finally love myself. That's on the width. But people also do this with the depth, where they're like, if my partner really loves me, so it's not a lot of people loving you, but it's one person loving you a ton, then it gives me permission to love myself. So for all of you, whatever you're craving, ask yourself, where am I not giving it to me internally? The same with control. That's another one. We try to control things. Control how we present ourselves, control what we say, control how we come off, control situations so they go according to plan. But under control, what's the fear? Do you know? None of you know?
Yes.
For those of you who are really attached to control, a lot of you it's approval, another big part is control. Under this need for control is a lack of trust. That's what's at the foundation. If you need to control life, it's because you don't trust that life has your back, is on your side, unless you interfere. If you need to control people, it's because you don't trust that people are on your side. If you need to always control yourself, it's because you don't trust yourself. So in the end, it's this lack of trust, and you're not seeking it externally. People try to do that. I'm going to design my life and create this safe space and control to protect myself from life. You're not actually even seeking safety out there. It's seeking safety within here. The lack of trust is actually lack of trust within you. Change the inner, everything falls into place. And at the foundation, it comes down to that. It's like, hey, in life, there are two games that are being played. There's an outward in game and an inward out. Most people think that, hey, if I change what's out here, it's going to change in here. No, it doesn't. Because wherever you go, there you are. And however you feel, your level of self-esteem, whatever states you're in, hijacks your focus, and it'll distort reality and block things off that aren't aligned with it. This is very important. I'll share with you a quick story where this is many years ago, 2010, 2011 in Amsterdam. I was working with a client who wanted to improve his confidence and his social skills. Okay? And I'm like, okay, well, let's go talk to some people. Let's see how it goes. And we went out and he started talking to people, talking to strangers and having a blast. Everyone loved this guy. Like smiling, laughing, joking around. It was a crazy fun night in Amsterdam. And the next day I'm like, so, did you enjoy that? And he's like, what are you talking about? That was terrible. That was one of the worst nights of my life. Everyone hated me. I was like, what do you mean everyone hated you? Now keep this in mind. You think the external will change the internal, but no. Even though he had positive external reference experiences, it wouldn't land. His mind would block it off. He had blind spots to it to stay congruent to how he felt. Now, what's funny is the next night we went out and I had one of my friends take a couple pictures of people smiling, talking to him. And the same thing at the end. I'm like, so how was that? He's like, more terror. No one likes me. I'm just unlikable. I'm like, what about these pictures? And he's like, deep fake. No, that's nowadays. But no, he just, still then, his mind was like, being disrupted. So for all of you, if you think something out there is going to change it, no. Even if it were to, you have a blind spot just to stay congruent. The true game of self-transformation is inward out. Change what's in here and let things fall into place. Beyond that too, anything out there, if it does actually change you, you become a slave to it. It's like trying to chase good enough. I'll be good enough once I get this. Well, then what it also means is if you don't have that, you're back to ground zero, so by default, you're not good enough. Being good enough can't have any requirements or you're not good enough, right? I'm only good enough if I'm successful. I'm only good enough if I'm holding this phone. So what does it say? I'm not good enough without the phone. I'm not good enough without meeting that requirement. So at a core, I'm not good enough. So we can't depend on anything. Get it?
Yes.
Yeah. And this is where you once more dive into your past, your conditioning, and say, well, when did I start believing this? When did it get programmed into me that I'm not good enough? When did I start creating a split within? That too. We create this split where, say, this is you, similar to the Pac-Man. We say, you know what? This is me, but only this part of me is the acceptable me. This is the unacceptable part of me. That's where you disown parts of yourself that you label as not good, not acceptable. It could be unacceptable thoughts, unacceptable experiences, past trauma, unacceptable aspects of yourself. As you saw earlier, being loud threatens my survival. I'm not going to be loud. That part of me is not good. So by default, or even in terms of your conditioning, your parents are like, good boy, good girl, when you're this. When you're that, naughty, naughty. Well, then you're taught from a young age that you're only welcomed in society, if you will, loved in society if you're embodying this part of you, but not that part of you. So suddenly you start feeling like there's this ickiness within you. And then what people do is they try to compensate. If I overblow the acceptable, it'll make up for this. No, that stuff's still there. Doesn't matter how much you compensate, you're still compensating. And the bigger the split here, the lower the self-esteem. In reality, confidence doesn't come from overblowing it. It comes from dissolving this split, re-owning what you disowned. And it doesn't mean necessarily approving of it. If you're familiar with, say, Carl Jung, your shadow, so on and so forth, it doesn't mean that, hey, everything in there is great, but it means acknowledging and accepting that it is you. Very important. The same with forgiveness, right? You must forgive everyone and everything, or you will forever be a slave to that thing or person. But forgiveness doesn't mean approving, right? Like say you were to stand up and just punch me in the stomach. You're just like, poof, and I'm like, oh. Well, then I better forgive him. He's like, oh, really? Let's do this. Why do I forgive him? To free myself. But forgiveness doesn't mean approving. Meaning I can forgive and look at the action and say that was not okay. But I'm not going to let it run me. Same with parts of you. Say there's a traumatic experience that happens, you can look back and say, that was not okay. But it still happened. It's still me. Just because it wasn't okay doesn't mean I'm not going to allow myself to embody that. I'm not going to create this split and pretend it didn't happen. That's self-hate. That's like saying, say someone cut my hand. I was thinking of crazy analogies, so it clicks. Say you cut my hand, and I'm like, that was not okay. But to cope with it, I'm going to pretend like I have no hand. Everyone, I don't feel complete. I feel like a hand's missing. What are you going to tell me? Re-own your hand. Realize your hand's there. But the cut's on it. It doesn't matter. You can realize you still have a hand and at the same time acknowledge that the cut is not okay. The same with who you are. You need to re-own all aspects of you. Become whole. And the more you do, again, you'll feel more at home within yourself. You won't have to escape yourself anymore. You won't have to compensate. You won't chase all that approval out there, and you'll just be free. So to conclude once more, the solution is in here. And it really comes down to letting go, realizing that strategy of trying to satisfy neediness does not work. And it's not that you aren't good enough and you must become good enough. It's that you are good enough. You've always been good enough, but you just need to remember it and realize it.